You finally discovered that you're a highly sensitive person. What a relief. Now things are clear and the child has a name. But new questions are arising. I'm an HSP, so do I need a highly sensitive partner as well? Great question. Let's dive in. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Robert, and today we talk about the question whether you need a highly sensitive partner as an HSP yourself. So the idea is pretty natural that as a highly sensitive person, it could be an advantage to have a partner who's also highly sensitive. Because after all, the needs and lifestyles of HSPs are sometimes very different from those of non-HSPs. Personally, I have lived in several HSP, non-HSP and HSP HSP relationships and know the advantages and disadvantages of both combinations. But before you break up now heads over heels with your current partner, let's take a closer look of the two combinations and their advantages and disadvantages. First of all, I want to dive into the HSP non HSP relationship constellation, and I want to start with the disadvantages, or I would say challenges, and the constellation with the advantages and opportunities which come out of this relationship constellation. Challenges of HSP non-HSP relationships. First of all, a huge challenge for the HSP non-HSP relationship constellation is that the non-HSP part has no or low understanding for the needs and habits of a highly sensitive person and vice versa. This concerns especially the need for rest, the quick overstimulation, and the withdrawal of the highly sensitive part. Communication is always very important, but here it is very important and key in order to eliminate the potential for conflict. On the other hand, it can also be that the non-HSP part is very introverted and quiet. On the other hand, what could be a great fit here is when the non-HSP part is also very introverted and quiet, because then the combination out of HSP, non-HSP introvert can therefore work as well pretty good. Secondly, issues such as deaths and deep compassion for others or for animals may not be reciprocated at a deep level by the non-HSP partner. This can feel frustrating and disappointing for the highly sensitive part because they do not feel fully understood. A third challenge can be that little in common due to different lifestyles between the two. When lifestyle and needs differ, the challenge in the relationship is to find time together for activities that excite both. So we shed a light on some challenges here in that specific relationship constellation. On the other hand, you also have a lot of advantages that come into play here in that relationship type. For example, the non-HSP partner is usually more extrovert and socially open, which means that an HSP at their side can come out of their comfort zone more often. This is especially helpful if you yourself are very introverted and therefore more shy, although you would like to be a little more open and self-confident. This way your partner can support you. And studies also show that it's quite beneficial for HSPs to come out of their comfort zone, to expose themselves to more stimuli at some time, to train their central nervous system to a higher amount of stimuli, because this way they become more open, more relaxed in social interaction, and also tend to be less depressive and develop less negative thoughts. But even if both partners are introverts, the non-HSP introverts can still help the HSP part here to step out of the comfort zone in small, tiny steps. Another advantage may be, and doesn't sound like it at first sight, non-HSPs don't ask themselves deep questions about life as often as HSPs do. And this behavior, they don't do it, is exactly what often also eliminates the heaviness and seriousness that can make a relationship with them feel very light. Non-HSPs also tend to have fewer mental challenges, such as depressive thoughts, so they are more stable in relationships and can offer support to the HSPs with their positive nature. The next advantage or opportunity, especially for HSPs in that relationship constellation, is that non-HSPs are less conflict averse and not as in need for harmony. As a result, they address issues and conflicts early on, even if the highly sensitive part does not dare, which is highly relevant for a healthy relationship. Since the HSP part is often very empathetic as well, the non-HSP part can here learn from them to become more empathetic and love with kindness with themselves and their partner. But that's just one constellation of HSP non-HSP. Now let's have a look at the HSP HSP constellation, and again I want to shed a light first on the challenges and disadvantages of this relationships constellation, and then end with the advantages and good sides. So a huge challenge of an HSP HSP relationship constellation may be that conflicts may not be acted out because both have a strong need for harmony. This avoids problems and disputes until it possibly can explode at some point because no one is talking about their issues. Secondly, if both HSPs are more introverted, they may tend to stay with themselves in their comfort zone, which can lead to more and more self-isolation. Can also happen, of course, in the HSP non-HSP constellation if both are introverted, but this can cause and lead to the avoidance trap. I also link you that episode right here or in the description. Because of the strong empathy for each other, they may both make interpretations and assumptions for each other that create problems that do not even exist. I would call it they oversense, overthink, and overinterpret. A fourth challenge in that constellation might also be that many HSPs have not learned to set boundaries for themselves, and if neither sets boundaries, there is more potential for conflict again. That can also be shown in a passively aggressive behavior, by the way. But again, you also have a lot of advantages and opportunities here in that kind of relationship constellation. I think the greatest advantage for an HSP HSP relationship is definitely the deep understanding here. And I also experienced that many times. Finally, there is someone who has always felt like an alien too. Someone who deeply understands you on a truly depth and on a truly deep level from the bottom of their heart. And this creates a huge bond here. Definitely HSPs also often have very similar needs and habits that they act out. They both need calm, they're both quickly overstimulated and then have to withdraw. They often need the same things and again can therefore understand each other's needs very well. And that one creates another huge advantage because of the deep understanding and the very similar needs. Communication is often very simplified. This is because both feel that they were talking about the same thing and it feels pretty natural. The message is understood. And the final advantage is also that both partners have deep empathy for each other and therefore create a deep basis for compassion and love. Well, what is then the perfect relationship constellation for highly sensitive people here? Many HSPs also want an HSP partner, and in my experience, this definitely arises from the deep need to, as I said, be finally understood on a deep level here. Sharing the deep-seated otherness is truly an intense feeling and a real driver for highly sensitive people when looking for a partner. I've been in several relationship types, and as always, I don't think there is no real secret recipe here, because each relationship model brings challenges as well as opportunities. Of course, I think it's indisputable that a secure, calm, and fulfilling, loving relationship works especially well when the partners are pretty similar, so that they can understand each other and communicate purposefully. However, I would not agree that both partners necessarily have to be highly sensitive. Especially non-HSP introverts can also be very good partners for many highly sensitive people. Also, some extroverted might match as well. My personal experience and also the wisdom of therapists I talk to show that one of the most important factors that a relationship works out is the conscious and reflective interaction with each other. If you truly live a relationship consciously and awake, are present with your partner, and actively listen and communicate with loving kindness, it will be definitely easier for you, no matter in which constellation you are in right now. Conscious and love are definitely key here. Now, definitely let me know, do you have a highly sensitive partner at the moment as an HSP? Definitely share your experiences if you want to in the comments below this episode. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen. Check out the book list in the description, and I see and speak to you in the next episode.